Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Carolyn Pearson from MaidenVoyage, and I launched an organisation 7 years ago called MaidenVoyage, which is a play on words, women and travel. And what my raison d'etre is to make business travel safe and social for women.
Okay. Caroline, first for you, MaidenVoyage is a global enterprise with members in over 80 countries. How did you achieve that?
Well, I was on a business trip in Los Angeles, and I felt that sitting in a restaurant by myself or having room service wasn't really a good reason to be in LA. And I wanted to be able to create a social network through which women could connect and have dinner or do something nice when they were traveling. And when I looked online, nothing like that existed. And so actually when I created it, it was a very novel concept. And so the press really enjoyed reading about what I created. So CNN and the New York Times and the BBC World Service were very keen to write about it. But actually what we find is that women really like helping other women. So it created that sense of community immediately. And we started to grow ambassadors all around the world so they could be me in those different countries. And then large organisations wanted to bring MaidenVoyage in to create a corporate standard for MaidenVoyage so that their staff could enjoy the benefits as well. So it's growing organically, and every week we get new members from different countries.
Fine, thank you. Carol, the Caribbean is one of the most tourism-dependent regions in the world, and the Caribbean Tourism Organization works with close to 30 destinations. How do you get so many countries that are so diverse to work together under the Caribbean brand?
Well, I get asked that question often. How do you get 30 countries to work together? And I say, I almost look at it like sibling rivalry. They're your children, you love them all, and you realize they are very different. And that's what I say about the Caribbean. Most people say to me, isn't an island just an island? And I say, no, not when you know the Caribbean, not when you understand that we have the English islands, the French, the Dutch, the Spanish, and then within each island you have the African culture, the European, the Asian. The Caribbean really is a melting pot of cultures, and what we try to do is to respect that and showcase it for each and every one of the countries that we work with. And in everything we're doing as a region, we always have to think, what's really going to stand out? What's going to make us compete? And we say to our destinations, you need to understand we're so close together. If something happens in one destination, they're going to think it's impacting on the entire Caribbean. So like brothers and sisters, we work together to protect the brand and to ensure that we realize, yes, we are dependent on tourism. For many of us, it's the #1 foreign exchange earner. So as a region, we work together. Now, don't get me wrong. There are days that we may not agree on everything, but we always sit down and think, what will have the best impact for the majority of the Caribbean? What will allow us to survive in this very competitive arena called tourism? And that's why we realize it's important to work together, even if we don't agree every single day, like a family.
Fine, thank you. Caroline, why did you choose to create a travel business that focuses on the just one gender? And what has been the reaction of male travel industry colleagues?
Well, to concentrate on just one gender, world domination for women is quite a big job. But actually, lots of men asked me if I could create a MaidenVoyage for men, because everybody suffers from that problem. But we know that there are specific legal and cultural and safety issues which impact women travelling to certain regions. And when I explain to a man and I say, you've got a daughter, or you've got a sister, or you've got a mother, or you've got a secretary, or someone who you care about, then they put themselves in the shoes of the woman, and they understand actually that there is a need in the industry to do some stuff differently for the women travellers. I think also the Cornell School of Hospitality did a report a couple of years ago called Creating Value for the Female Traveller. And what they saw is that hotels that did actually do something specific, which catered to the needs of female travellers, had a direct impact on the bottom line. And we mustn't forget that women influence 80% of the travel decisions, and 50% of business travellers are women. So it makes good business sense to do that. And so the guys who are really savvy, who get on board, will be the winners.
All right. Carol, a recent study by the International Labour Organization quoted Jamaica as having the highest proportion of female managers globally. 59% is common across the Caribbean and in tourism in particular.
Yes, that was an interesting report when we read it, which looked at female leaders. And as Caribbean people, we were really pleased to see that one of our countries, Jamaica, had the highest percentage of female leaders in the world. 59% of the leaders were women. So we've looked at that, and what we found that in tourism, yes, women do tend to do very well and rise up the ranks. So what it's meant for us in the Caribbean, that we've got to ensure that the programs we have in place continue to encourage women to grow, because it's a region where women have the propensity to lead, want to lead, can multitask very well, and so it's important for us when we see research like that confirming that in the Caribbean women have strong leadership roles. What we've got to ensure is right through the cycle, through schooling, through college, university, and then the career plan, we continue to work with women and develop them, because they've shown that strength. Tourism is important for us, and tourism is a type of industry that women can play a very strong role, and it's really important for us to ensure that tourism for us in the Caribbean is sustained through the development of women. So it's definitely something we're focusing on.
Okay. And last question, Kara. What advice you give the woman looking for a successful career in the travel industry?
Well, isn't this a special industry, hey? I love coming to work, and I think it's really important, if you are in love with the travel industry, to let that passion show through. And if you're not in love with the travel industry, I think you should leave it, because it's a very special one which creates a real community of people who are very close-knit, and it's very much built on relationships. So I would say, first of all, seek out those people in the industry that really inspire you, men or women, and get them to mentor you. Get them to be your sponsor in the industry and forward things to you if it's a job that you might be looking for, or some advice or a connection. But also pay it forward, do that for other people as well, because the more you give out to other people, the more it's going to come back to you anyway. But I think thirdly, it is a really sociable business, and my experience has always been that when I've been to any travel industry event, the business isn't really done walking the floor in the exhibition space. It's done at the dinners and at the lunches, and you have to take time to build those relationships. And I've done much bigger business deals over a casual glass of wine or a meal than I ever have in a stock meeting room.
All right. Well, Carol, how can women support other women in acquiring leadership position in the travel?
First of all, I think that what women really need to understand is that we can't do it all. In the workplace, we try to do so much. We try to be wives, mothers, leaders, run the social agenda for our children. But true leadership, in my opinion, is about empowering and encouraging other people to work with you and support you. In London, I have a very small team. There's 4 of us, and we work with 30 Caribbean countries, and we're responsible for all of Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And people say to me, how do you manage to be out of the office doing so much with such a small team? And I say they're empowered, and I've built trust with them, and they're also a part of the success, so that when things go really right, they're getting the praise and the encouragement as well, and therefore they want to be a part of a great team. So I think that for women to really develop, first of all, we have to learn to support each other in the office and understand we can't do it all. And in your presentation earlier, it was said that we're part of a team, and And as female leaders, we have to grow teams. We cannot do it alone. And once you are confident enough to share your knowledge and your expertise and build up your team, you'll realize you're free to do anything and you're free to go anywhere. So trust is important, building up other people. I actually have a mentor. I'll just tell you a very quick story. Many, many years ago, over 25 years ago, when I was in my teens and growing up in England, and I wanted to go to Jamaica. And I read about a lady in Jamaica who was the then director of tourism. She didn't know me, but I wrote her a letter from London saying, London-born Jamaican parents, I want to come and see Jamaica for the first time. She didn't know me. She responded to my letter and said, when you come to Jamaica, contact me. I did. She gave me a job as her private secretary. And for the past 25 years, she's been my friend, my mentor. But this all came out of me, just being a young girl out of college and deciding that I want to go to the Caribbean and writing a letter to a lady who didn't know me. If she was not confident enough to reach out to a young woman, I would not be where I am today. So because of her generosity, I understand the importance of coaching, mentoring, supporting other women, and being confident in what you do. So it doesn't matter who is out there. And even if people want my job, I say thank you. If you want it, that means I've done it well. So we must continue to lift up other women, support them, encourage them to go out there and to get the skills. I say in this world, many things can be taken from you, but what you have up here cannot be taken from you. So continue to learn, to grow, to develop, but most important, share. Because certainly for us in the Caribbean, we've realized that sustainability is key, and we've got to ensure that we have other people, men, women, willing to drive our industries, lead our countries, and ensure the Caribbean is competitive. And that's why I personally mentor and support women. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question. Carolyn, what's your monetization model?
We've got a number of monetization models. So for individual ladies, it's a free service. But actually, large corporates such as multinationals will pay us for their corporate membership so that they can connect their staff when they're traveling to different regions. We also invite selected female-friendly hotels to advertise on the website. We do some small advertising for related fashion and beauty products, but also a big revenue for us is female business traveller safety training, which we run on behalf of the British government to encourage more women into export, and some organisations pay for that as well.
During my time I had Carolyn talking about empowering women. Yes, we know that we do empower them, but sometimes getting the resources to establish their own businesses is a major problem. So how do you, after empowering them, giving them the education or the necessary tools that they need, and if they need resources, what would you do to get them resources to establish their business?
Was that a question? Yeah. Well, luckily for us in the Caribbean, entrepreneurship is really encouraged, and there are many organisations, both public and private sector, that provide grants and funding for persons to help them. Let's say, for example, right now in Jamaica, we have the Pearson Entrepreneurial Centre that works with young people in Jamaica and in the Caribbean who have an interest in tourism. They coach them, they mentor them, they work with them to understand best practices and help them to launch their businesses. In Barbados, we have the Caribbean Development Export Agency that works with anyone who has an idea linked to tourism. In the Caribbean, we're also very talented when it comes to performing arts, etc. So right across the spectrum, right across the Caribbean, through schools, university, college, and I needn't talk about sports because I'm sure most people have heard of Usain Bolt, but it's a region where we have a lot of talented people, and there's a lot of funding, grants, mentorship, in place to harness this talent. But what we also work very hard to do is to get the young people to recognise that they have a talent in the first place, that they're confident to work with, and then we help them to turn it into a business idea. So yes, through the UN, so many agencies, and we've realised in the Caribbean that we've got to work with women and the youth. So that's why entrepreneurship and the development and sustainability of it is key for the Caribbean. So thank you.
Anyone? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you all. Thank you.